Hello, everyone. My name is Julio Godinez. I'm founder and director of SD Networks. We are a Cisco partner focused on developing observability and network automation use cases. Today, I am going to present how network automation can impact on the most relevant business outcomes. I would like to start quoting Satya Nadella, who said that network automation isn't just tech evolution. It is a strategic imperative. It empowers agile, secure, and efficient networks, the backbone of innovation and growth. I totally agree with this quote because network automation is been around for some time, and there are some successful use cases that are well documented. Um, well, I started my career as a network operation engineer back in 1997. I was working as a network operation engineer in one of the largest service providers in Mexico. My work was to configure routers, switches, firewalls, and access devices. All the configurations were manually generated. I love to type fast and I love CLI. Um, and I started to create my scripts in notepads and spreadsheets. And also I create some macros to manage variables for the scripts, but all the input data was done manually. Uh, Back in that time, the SLA for the internet service was more like a VSF for service. People use the internet to browse their computers, and they don't have the all the dependency that we have today of the internet. But suddenly the behavior of the traffic pattern started to change when the YouTube started to grow. Also, the social media, the social networking with Facebook, and also the peer-to-peer traffic. All these file sharing protocols uh, disrupted the traffic in the network. The traffic exploded, and the network needed major changes like new traffic policies, filtering, new SLAs. Also, security became more relevant because there were these uh, service disruptive attacks, etc. We need to change the way that the IEP protocols communicate. We need to put some passwords, etc. And this whole bunch of changes start to consume my personal life because all the changes had to be done in the night. So I had to work during the day to plan the changes that where we are going to apply in the night. And we work at endless hours. Um, the, the people, the people were we were a few engineers for all the changes that were needed. And after endless hours of work, it happened what happens to any tire engineer. I made a mistake in my scripts and I tore down the service in a city. Fortunately, the change was in the night and the service was restored after a couple of hours. But I thought at that time that there should be a better way to do this. Uh, I need to I need to think in some better way. Well, back at the present, the unbelievable thing is that more than 20 years later, I still see engineers doing the same thing as I did, working endless hours, doing manual scripting in notepads and spreadsheets, and sadly, making mistakes. Um, we all know we all know that network automation is the answer for this, but the way to justify the developing of the use cases is by linking them to business outcomes. From our experience, there are four business outcomes that are the most relevant that we have found in the field. These business outcomes are business continuity, agility, security, and compliance. The first one, business continuity. Based in some research, still more than 60% of the network outages are due to human errors. And well, this is one of the easiest business outcomes to sell to customers. In terms of numbers, it's not that easy to create a business case. And this is because the information about outages due to manual changes or misconfiguration is not well documented, and it is hard to get the number of affected customers and the economic impact. Uh, Also, we cannot map directly the subscriber that canceled the service for a failure that happened a couple of months ago. But some estimates can be done. We have a case where a customer have a provisioning system that raised an alarm when a network exhaustion existed. When this happened, the operations team have to follow a procedure. Uh, they execute this procedure around 100 of times per month. The procedure involves configure a new network in the access device, open routing filters, and validate the on-net and off-net connectivity. But from time to time, the network engineer forgot to follow all the steps in the manual process or configure the wrong network in the wrong device. And when the provisioning system started to assign IPs to the end devices, the customer with these new IPs don't have service, and the complaints started to raise randomly. Troubleshooting was not easy because it was hard to pinpoint where the error was. So the company sent truck rolls to change the drop cables, to change the CPE devices, and expend money and resources during the troubleshooting process. Um, we took this case and fully automate this process, demonstrating that the number of changes and the time required to run the pre-validation, execution, and post-validation was enough to change from manually to fully automate. So we didn't take in account the failures. We just demonstrate that the business there was a business case by the time that we will save. After a couple of months, we demonstrate that the time required for the full automated process to complete the provisioning was only 5% of the time taken by the manual process. And the most important result was the errors were reduced to zero. This validated the outcome of the business continuity, enhancing the reliability of the network and the service. I don't know if you remember the failure that happened to Facebook. This was a failure that lasted like 3 hours, where all the services were affected. And this was due to a manual change. So this is an example of how can we demonstrate a business case with data, with available data. The second business outcome in relevance is the agility. This is how fast a business can introduce changes or deliver new service to the market. We have seen so many times that if a change or new configuration is required in the network, complex project plans are deployed, requesting a lot of limited resources. And in some cases, when the change required or have some cross dependencies between departments, um, this change is more complicated because each department has their own priorities and their own KPIs that they need to complete. So these changes are delayed. Also, it is very important to understand that when working with hundreds of devices, traditional scripting is not enough because you need to see the network as a whole. So in this case, an orchestrator is an optimal solution. For example, we have a customer that had Telnet deployed in their network. They started with Telnet as an access protocol, as a management protocol, but the network grew up so fast, and they leave that configuration, and they wanted to change to SSH, but they always ended that with the conclusion that a lot of effort and resources need to be assigned to this change. And they don't see that as a priority, even that the security advisor was pushing to have this change done. So we developed a use case to push the configuration to the network using Cisco MSO to fix this security breach and also other particular configurations that need to be done to secure the network. So demonstrating this outcome is easy because scaling changes is always faster doing automatically than doing manually. Even if the requested automation is for a very particular change, maybe that could be viable if the change is so relevant for the business that it can afford its own use case. So automation accelerates the deployment of new network services, also enable businesses to bring new products and service to the market more quickly. Security. This is a key business outcome, but it is preventive in nature. So calculate the economic impact is not easy. Developing a use case for security will depend on how much a company wants to invest in prevention. From the network perspective, the automation will help us to have visibility on who is making changes in the network, what versions of software could have some vulnerabilities that must be addressed immediately, and what devices have security misconfiguration that can lead to an attack or unauthorized access. Automation will help to have this visibility and send fixes to the network in a very efficient way. Network automation will not assure that a network is 100% secure, but it will show that it's in line with the security policies. Compliance. Compliance is not only configuration and software versions. Compliance could be seen as with a broader scope. For example, knowing inventory and receiving alerts for exhaustion will help to maintain the network aligned with the company's business expansion. If the inventory of hardware is depleted, the business cannot expand at the desired rate. On the other hand, having inventory with no use is a waste of capex. Compliance is also regarding maintenance contracts. Not all devices need to have the same SLA, but we need to be sure that the network has the correct SLAs over the different layers and architectures that will help to comply with the OPEX policies. Redundancy is another aspect of compliance. Having visibility of a switchover in a traffic path could help to prevent network failures or reduce transit costs. Power is another aspect of compliance. Having visibility of all hardware that consumes a lot of energy could help to create a plan to replace them and save money. Visibility of network configuration changes is also key to maintain the integrity of the network. We have a customer that didn't know if a change occurs in the network. neither by who or when or what change was done. When a network outage occurred and managers started to question who made changes, everybody started to point fingers. We developed a use case where the network administrator could see in real time the last change in any of the network devices, who did it, and all the relevant information about the change. This tool also includes reports that point which device has the most changes. This helps to map failures versus changes. Who made the most changes over a period of time, and if a change was in line with the company policies. Um, Automating all these indicators in a single pane of glass uh, for software versions, configuration compliance, software patches, device under contract, power consumption, state of redundancy, active paths over primary or backup, and network changes is key to determine the level of compliance of the network. So, as a conclusion, over the years, we have seen network automation as a tool to make life easier for engineers, customers, and companies. So, developing use cases with a business outcome in mind will help to justify the investment. Selling just a use case is not as relevant as selling the business impact. When possible, demonstrate the return of investment of the project. In our experience, projects with a ROI between 8 and 12 months are rapidly adopted. Also, demonstrating the positive impact in economic figures is a key to continue the automation journey. Uh, Summarizing, the main business outcomes that we have seen in the field are business continuity by avoiding network disruption due to human errors, agility to survive in the business world where we need to be agile, improving or releasing new products to the market, security by ensuring the correct configurations and correct software versions and patches, and policy compliance. Understanding this not only as a software or configuration, but also changes inventory, power, and redundancy policies. And that is from my side. Thanks for watching.